Hello everyone, my name is Joshua. This is the 123rd video on my video journal series. Today's date is Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026. How's everyone been? I've been pretty good, thank you. And obviously this is my movie review. Warning, this contains spoilers for Detective Conan, the first movie, which is the time bomb Skyscraper, which released all the way back in 1997. So yeah, this I guess review contains spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled about the first Detective Conan movie or Case Closed, depending where you're from, I suggest you click off this video. But if you're willing to hear spoilers and all that, even though it's an older movie, you can proceed. But anyway, so yeah, this was the movie that I watched around 2 days ago. But obviously, yesterday I was like too tired to talk about it. So today's going to be the movie review. And obviously, I'm not like the Siskel and Ebert of reviewing stuff. I mean, Siskel and Ebert are movie critics, but I'm certainly not like them. So yeah, I'm not the best reviewer. But I'm just going to go into what my takes from the movie were. And if you don't know what Detective Conan is, it is a Japanese anime and manga series about a boy, or should I say, about a detective who takes the form of a boy but is secretly a man trapped in a child's body. I know, it gets weird, but no, and basically he's like the anime Sherlock Holmes, solves crimes, cases, and all that. I haven't watched the anime series, but I have watched the first two movies. I actually watched the second movie today, but I might do a review of that tomorrow. So yeah, I've known Detective Conan for a while, but it's only recently where I've been actually like getting into the movies and all that, and possibly the anime series, but it is quite long. So yeah, Detective Conan, the Time Bomb Skyscraper. I'll just be saying what I thought about the movie and I guess my pros and cons. And yet again, this is all my opinion. I'm not like a proper movie critic or whatever. So yeah, I'll give like a rating at the end, even though the rating will be more towards my enjoyment of the movie rather than like a critical rating, if you know what I mean. So yeah, anyway, I wrote some notes here. Released in '97, nearly 30 years ago, and I know they release like a Detective Conan movie every single year. So yeah, they're about to make the 30th film. I think next year. Next year will be like 30 years of Detective Conan movies. So yeah, it starts off with a mystery. Yet again, I just wrote like pretty vague notes, but yeah, I found the intro of the movie to be fantastic. You need to know nothing about the series, like I do, but you still go into it and you still get like enjoyment. I think the intro with the the maid, um, like the maid having or housewife, not housewife, it was a maid, killing the victim. I found that to be like pretty suspenseful. I would have never guessed it would have been the maid who was the one who actually killed that man. But I liked that when the main character Conan, um, you know, was just like going to his reasoning of the crime, even though I find it a little bit like convoluted and stupid. Like the victim's there, like what if they get away? You should like maybe like I know it's like an anime trope where they like to say everything in front of like a large audience. In this case, with Detective Conan, usually Conan is the one who you know does the reasonings, like sort of like the brains behind um explaining why this person's a culprit. Even though I forgot the character's name, but he tranquilizes another detective because he always like accuses the wrong people, so he tranquilizes him, um, and he gives his whole spiel of why this person's the killer or the culprit. And I just thought to myself, why didn't they just like arrest the person? Like you're allowing that person to escape basically during your spiel. Like the person might be like, "Oh, the gig is up." The culprit, I mean, or they could just like run away. I guess it's anime. Like obviously you need that sort of explanation. But yeah, I just like throughout the movie when Conan Getty's like spiels or whatever, it's like, oh, this person's a culprit. I always wondered, well, can't the culprit just run away then? or did they just go like, "Oh, the jig is up," like this freaking 6-year-old boy, exposed everything, and now I gotta turn myself in. It kind of reminds me of like Scooby Doo, when they are master villains. It's like, I would have gotten away if it weren't for those meddling kids. But anyway, so yeah, I guess it's anime and it's just for entertainment. But realistically, if a police officer or detective, whatever, suspects someone of a crime, they'll place that person into like custody or at least near police officers. You don't want to allow that person to escape, is what I'm saying. Yeah, so I guess the intro I found really compelling. Obviously, they gave like a brief explanation of who Conan is, why he's taken the form of a boy, um, and obviously, I mean, obviously I haven't consumed much Conan media, but the first movie it really gives you that solid background and you get to know the characters very well. And obviously, the plot is basically Conan is going out on a date with his girlfriend Ran, and well, they're going to see a movie together. And obviously, the thing about Conan is that when he's his boy form, everyone thinks he's like a different person to his adult form. So they both use different aliases. His adult form, his actual name is Shinichi, but when he's his boy form, his name's Conan. So treat them like two separate characters, basically. So whenever Conan is Conan, the 10-year-old, people don't know he's Shinichi, basically. So obviously that allows him to gain like insider info. It's basically like Superman with Clark Kent, right? Superman, Clark Kent, same person, two different identities. That's basically Conan and Conan the kid form, and then Shinichi, which is the adult. Basically, like he's like superhero identity, quote unquote. So yeah, obviously, yeah. Should I just say Shinichi and Ran are going for a date, but Shinichi's really Conan. And they, yeah, so basically, obviously, the date night is like, towards the end of the movie, you don't actually get to see that date night because, the building blows up, spoiler alert, but I already gave you spoilers at the beginning. So, yeah, and obviously, you know, the film. What part should I jump to? I don't. Well, I guess what happens next in the film. I don't want to get this. See, I'm very bad at movie reviews, so I don't know if I should just be doing an explainer of the film or just giving my thoughts. I can do both. So basically, yeah, they meet this architect guy, Conan and Ran and all those like characters. They meet this architect guy, who turns out to be the villain of the film, and basically the reason why, he's really into like Victorian era architecture and all that. He's designed lots of buildings and structures, and then he wants to blow up. I'm not even kidding. He wants to destroy his earlier structures that he's designed because he views them as bad, and he wants to, I guess, challenge Shinichi, and he's after like Shinichi's blood basically because evil people are after the protagonist sort of thing. I know I'm simplifying this, but I have no better way to explain it. So anyway, yeah, the film is basically like Conan solving like five or was it four around like 5 different crimes, but they're all linked to the same suspect, which is the architect guy. I forgot his name. I should have wrote more detailed notes, but basically, in a nutshell, the movie feels like a longer version of like a TV episode, but it's got like the production and like thrills of a movie. So I don't mean that in a bad way. The movie it has like the production value, the animation looks gorgeous and all that, but in terms of its plot, you basically got the architect guy, the main villain. I'll just call him the villain, who obviously you don't know he's the villain until the very end of the story, to create that suspense. But you do see like 5 individual cases where he's trying to blow up all these buildings and structures, just purely out of, I guess, spite, and the fact that I guess he's like a quote unquote perfectionist because he very much values symmetry. He likes symmetrical works, buildings that look symmetrical, the same design on the left than it is on the right. So yeah, he's basically like an art fanatic, perfectionist who views his earlier works as basically trash and wants to harm people because he's the villain. And yeah, basically, you can like sort of pick up clues throughout the movie, throughout the individual cases, or I'm labeled it as crimes, but you can learn throughout the individual cases. You can sort of pick up clues to who the villain is. But all of that's revealed at the end. Obviously, Conan gives his spiel on why he thinks the architect guy is the villain. And then the villain's like, "Oh, you've got me, but I put a secret bomb in the skyscraper where your girlfriend's gonna watch that movie." So basically, um, if we're going, that's towards the end of the movie. Basically, towards the end of the movie, um, that's where its name pops up, the Time Bomb Skyscraper, because that skyscraper which he designed, I think he designed it. Um, if memory serves me right, he detonates a bomb and then suddenly the whole building, explodes. But the level where Ran is on, which is Shinichi, um, Shinichi's girlfriend, partner, basically. That level's still intact for the time being. And obviously, yeah, it's basically a race against time to find where that missing bomb is and to safely cut all the wires, just like what you see in like those action movies. Obviously, no one, um, none of the main characters, quote unquote, die at the end of the movie. They're all fine. Obviously, you would have had a lot of, I guess, explosions and all that. After all, it is a what would you call it? An action movie? I view it as an action movie. And all that. More explosions as Michael Bay. And it is quite dark. I found the two Detective Conan movies that I've watched, first and second movies, to be a little bit more darker in nature. But anyway, I found the villain, to be compelling. Yet again, I didn't know he was a villain, but at the end it all made sense. And, yeah, basically, it's a case of who done it, basically. Um, and I quite like those like detective style stories. And I think with Detective Conan, it's very intriguing because you basically got a detective who has like two different aliases, and he's constantly got to like balance that out within his detective work. Everyone just views him as a kid, but if he takes like a secret pill, or not secret pill, but secret to everyone. If he takes a special pill, he turns into his adult form, but only temporarily. And in that movie, he doesn't actually go into his adult form, Shinichi. So everyone just views him as like a child, basically, because that's his physical appearance. So yeah, obviously, I found the villain to be interesting, and I found all the characters to be good as well. I actually, one of my favorite parts in the movie was when they were trying to like defuse all those uh, bombs located on the train tracks, just because it featured trains and I like trains. But and that one was really suspenseful because they had to like redirect all the trains to get out of the railway lines because they figured out the villain planted um, time bombs basically on certain sections of this like railway line on the physical tracks. So I found that one to be like pretty suspenseful because it's basically like Speed. That specific part of the movie reminded me of that Speed with like Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper. That movie. Yeah, it was just basically Speed but with trains. I like that part of the movie. Obviously, yet again, it was quite dark and it goes into, I guess, more mature themes, but, the hero prevails. And, yeah, I apologize if this review seems all over the place, but it is, I guess, my second movie review that I remember. I did one on a Saturday night, but, these aren't reviews. These are just, like, my inner thoughts of the movie, basically. Because a review requires you to be critical. And I might go into, like, some things I didn't really, I guess, understand about the movie, or maybe some negatives, but I'll see how this goes. So basically, yeah, coming off my mind, Yeah, I like the animation, I like the score, I like the plot. With the plot, it was basically like five cases that all linked into one, but they all involved the same villain. I found that to be a refresher. I much rather have that than just like one very very big like storyline in a sense. I guess it's how it's implemented. You can do like a movie, right, with a detective and all that, trying to solve a case. You can have like one very big case stem into like smaller cases, or you know, um, basically one very very slow, I guess, um, revealing. Not revealing. It's one very like slow, I guess, sorting out of that big case, if you know what I mean, or you can just have like what this movie does, where you basically have, five, I guess, related cases, but they're all centered around a different thing, So, putting explosives on railway tracks, putting explosives. I think the first one was putting an explosive in like a kid's um, toy plane. And if you watch the movie for yourself, you'll be able to see all of them. But no, I thought, that style, that format of five cases linking to one very big overarching plot, um, was pretty well done. And in that sense, I can kind of understand how some people view it as like a long television special, whatever. But to me, I viewed it as a very compelling movie. And it's basically like a race against time, because they have until like the end of the day to like save the day. So yeah, there is that time factor. Um, and obviously, they introduced all the characters very well. I forgot some of them because, yet again, I'm not very familiar with this series. But there's Conan, Ran, and then there's everyone in the police or detective department, all his friends, Conan's friends, and yeah, like you don't need to know anything about the anime series. You can watch it, like me for the first time without knowing really anything about the series. But yet, um, you know, you'll come out with a good experience. You'll come up with some knowledge. And obviously, I've heard of the name Detective Conan, but I haven't really like consumed much media from it. And yeah, obviously, they catch the bad guy at the end. Well, they really like called him out like, 3/4 into the movie. Not 3/4, but like, um, you know, towards like the last 20 minutes of the movie, they call him out on it. And yeah, that seems to be basically the plot of or the format of like the two Detective Conan movies which I've seen. They revealed a villain, maybe in like the last 20 or 25 minutes, and then basically, they know the villain is there, but now they're gonna like sort of save all their friends, if you know what I mean. They're gonna save like everyone else, which is how you do like a proper, I guess, murder mystery investigative type film, you know. So yeah, obviously, yet again, the movie's like 30 years old, but the animation holds up very well. It looks very nice. Celluloid animation, hand drawn animation, and like I said, yeah, great animation, compelling story. Um, you know, the plot was really, I guess, it really had me on edge. Even though it was just an animated movie, it really got like me invested into it. Um, Characters are nice. Yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say about the movie. Just some major takeaways. Basically, architect who is very dissatisfied with his work decides to unleash his anger onto others and to basically challenge Shinichi, who is secretly Conan, but yet again, no one else accepts the professor, which is another character, knows that Conan and Shinichi are the same person. Just like how no one really knows Clark Kent and Superman are the same person, basically. Um, yeah, and obviously, you know, I quite like architecture. But I wouldn't become a villain over architecture. But yeah, they had like a very good way of, I guess, setting up the villain. You don't know he's the villain at the beginning of the story, because Conan and Rand, they go to like I think a party hosted at his house, and you know he's showing them, oh, these are all the architectural works that I did. Like he's got like in pictures on the wall saying, oh, these are all the architectural works that I did. And obviously, there's a flashback of that scene later on in the movie, and then when you view that flashback, you're like, oh, now it makes all sense why he's a villain because he revealed where he's I guess where he put all his explosives, where his targets were at, you know. So yeah, I guess Detective Conan movies really do a good job of setting up the villain, but he's not revealed as a villain. They're not revealed as a villain, You just view him as like a regular character. But towards the end of the movie, you're like, if I pick up those mini clues throughout the movie, it suddenly all makes sense now. And typically, it's always going to be the person who's like least suspicious. That's how they do it in like every movie. The person who appears overtly friendly. But I want to consider that a negative. As for stuff maybe I was a little bit confused about with the movie or stuff I didn't like, it's really hard. Yet again, though, the ending did seem a little bit abrupt, but yet again, though, that's not really negative. The ending's just basically like a still shot, and then some credits roll. Well, it's more like a zoom out shot, but it's basically like a still image zoomed out. And that's pretty much it. I think there was a post credit scene as well, which was nice. And like I said, short and sweet. It was around 90 minutes, which is a good length for a movie. And like I said, I think this movie will really be good if you're interested in something like Sherlock Holmes, investigative action movies. You don't even have to be an I guess enjoyer of anime to appreciate this. You can pretty much understand what this movie is trying to communicate without having prior knowledge about Detective Conan. Like me, for instance, I still enjoy the movie. I still remember the plot. And the movies are non-canon to the original series, I believe. That's what I heard online. So, obviously, I don't think it will spoil the actual television. I might be wrong about this, but I don't think it will spoil much of the television series or manga. So yeah, you can pretty much watch them in like any order. Um, you know, and yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Can I think of any other things? Yet again, no, this is, I guess, you know, not really thought out movie reviews, just a bunch of dot points, me explaining those dot points to you. Hopefully, maybe tomorrow, because yet again, I did watch this movie like 2 days ago, so my mind's a little bit rough on it. I know I gave it like a skim over today, but yeah, I might have missed a few things. Hopefully, you know, with the later movies that I do on this channel, I'll be able to do more in-depth movie reviews. But for this one, yeah, I just thought, it's a very nice detective story. Um, and what else? What else? What other like things can I think about? No, that's pretty much it. Just maybe, you know, maybe I'm not used to that because I guess this movie was released in like the late '90s, and it's not like movies today where they're like 2.5, maybe even 3 hours long, where they have like very long endings, or just like suspense added towards the end of the movie. This one, no, it just felt short and sweet, and I've searched up other reviews online, and people have like similar consensus about the first Detective Conan movie. It's a pretty good movie. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. Yet again, tomorrow I might do a more, I guess, in-depth review of the second movie because I watched that one today, or I might do something else. But I know the official TMS. TMS is I think, the distributor of Conan, the anime series. I know they're releasing the first 18 Detective Conan movies on their YouTube channel. But the thing is, though, they're releasing one movie per week, but they soon delete the previous movie, which they uploaded, or they private that movie, once a new one releases. So thankfully, I did manage to watch this in time, because obviously, like every week they're releasing one. It's basically when you turn on TV and they got like a movie marathon. One movie per week sort of thing. You watch it once or you miss it. So yeah, obviously they're releasing these movies, and it's quite hard to find the Detective Conan movies, because most of the DVDs and Blu-rays are out of print, and you pretty much have to resort to like other sources, if you know what I mean, to view that media. By that I mean torrenting, which I'm not legally allowed to endorse, but wink wink. um, Obviously, do not torrent stuff, if you know what I mean. Do not torrent stuff. But anyway, um, so yeah, it is quite hard to, I guess, find the early versions. But obviously, the official TMS YouTube channel on YouTube, which is like the distributor of Conan, they're releasing it for the time being, just in like a limited, I guess, run. So yeah, I do plan on watching each of the Detective Conan movies per week, and yeah, just really getting myself started with this series, because maybe I'll look back on this series or this video, sorry, in a couple of years' time. I'm like, oh well, that was a pretty poor explanation of it. So yeah, obviously, um, you know, that movie really, I guess, got me invested into like looking more into Detective Conan, and like I said, I recommend it. Obviously, the original video that they uploaded that I referencing this off was privatized, because yet again, no, they're releasing one every week, but they private the previous movie, they delisted. So yeah, for where to watch this movie, I think Netflix. But it depends what region you are, and I think they only got the animation, the anime series. I don't think they got the movies. Yeah, and I guess that's one reason why, um, as much as I love old anime series and all that, um, trying to get a hold of a copy is quite hard. So yeah, honestly, I'm not like a big Detective Conan fan, but yeah, I'll just say, if you ever find like a DVD copy of this, or if you find a copy elsewhere online, I'll definitely give it a watch. And I do believe that this movie and all really the Detective Conan movies should be like readily available online. If they got like the files and the the um, prints of this movie already like digitized and all that, why not they just like release it on like YouTube, where you pay like, I don't know, a couple of bucks, or Amazon Prime Video. But it really seems to depend what region you are. I know if you're like in Japan, you might be able to access this movie, but if you're like in a country like Australia, for instance, which let's say, so we don't get much media as Japan or the US, it might be a little bit hard. And I know that with the Urusei Yatsura movies, it is quite hard to find legitimate sources. Up until recently, because I know a few years ago they did like Blu-ray releases, except the second movie. That one, the second Urusei Yatsura movie, got a Blu-ray release in 2018, but that one's out of print, and now it costs a lot of money. So trying to watch the second movie, which is regarded as one of, if not the best in the Urusei Yatsura film series, it's really hard, basically, to find a subtitled, English subtitled, high definition version of that movie. So yeah, honestly, like I said, if you ever get the opportunity to watch the first Detective Conan movie, I'll highly recommend. I'll most probably give it 8 out of 10 stars, and that's not my critical rating. That's just my personal enjoyment of it. I'll give it 8 out of 10. One basically being I did not enjoy it, do not want to watch this movie again, and 10 being I love it, perfect, I'll love to watch this movie again, sort of thing. Out of the scale 1 to 10, I'll give it an 8. But anyway, I can see my camera's about to die, because my camera is on low quality. But yeah, that was my short movie review. Yeah, again, I apologize if I'm not the the best movie reviewer. I'm quite a poor movie reviewer. This isn't really much a review. Well, what I just thought of the movie, and this is my video journal series. I just wanted to state what I think. Yet again, I'm no Siskel and Ebert, but I just like that movie. But anyway, I guess I'll catch you all later, and I'll see you all next time. Bye, see you, take care. Catch you all tomorrow.